Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mind Shifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie. Michael and Jeannie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rukha. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeannie Ryce.
To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Press 1, that puts you in queue to talk to Michael. And we are here in Palm Coast, Florida, and we have begun day 4 of our 9-day intensive. And it's an awesome group, high energy, lots of processing going on. Give us a call, questions, comments. We'd love to hear from you. Michael, hi.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We are delighted to be here to support you on this awesome, beautiful day here in Palm Coast, Florida. We've got a beautiful sunny sky and, about probably 75-degree temperatures, blue, clear. If you're up there somewhere in cold land, we send you heat and warmth and surround you in the presence of our love. And what we're here for is to open the space on planet Earth for human life to really, truly arrive. When you look around at the way the world has gone and is going, things are pretty bizarre, pretty crazy, and pretty much out of tune with human life. And, of course, of course, it depends on how you define a human life, so we have a definition for you. And that definition is hold a newborn child. And when you hold a newborn, you know exactly what human life is. Now, the question becomes, are you really, truly human if that presence of love is not in you? My offering to you is, no, human life is gone when the presence of love is gone. And so what we're looking to do is to establish a space where the presence of human life is available 24/7, 365. And so here we are in the process of learning the ancient Aramaic technology of forgiveness. When Jeannie mentions Memorial Day, the reason for that mention is that our commitment on a daily basis is to invite you to join us in changing the game on planet Earth, and especially in eradicating war, which sounds like a goal that couldn't possibly be achieved. Of course, there are many things. They said they couldn't send people to the moon. I believe that the goal of creating a world, a place where human life prevails and the active presence of love governs and rules is not only possible but inevitable. And it's inevitable because we have enough people who are willing to step in and do their work and clean up the parts of their minds that hold any form of hostility and fear. Now, the normal game on the planet is, if I'm in hostility or fear, if I'm in pain, if I'm in turmoil, my conversation is always about somebody else. And we just invite you to notice. If you're in turmoil, I'll invite you to notice that turmoil you've been through 87 different times with 42 different people. And all 87 times you probably had a conversation about somebody else. You probably didn't stop and say, gee, I'm in turmoil. What am I doing to myself? What do I have to do here? The conversation generally looks like, well, I'm in turmoil, and look what they did to me. They did this, and they did that, and if only they, and if only they, and if only they, and then when they, and I'm offering to you that that's all a fraud. That's all a product of an insane mind. And we define an insane mind as a mind that functions without its connection to love. So we're here to support you. And if you're not familiar with the Aramaic technology of forgiveness, that technology is the how-to of deleting or removing literally your very capacity for any form of hostility or fear. Now, if you live in a world where everywhere you look, you see rage, you see fear, you see grief, you see pain, then living in a world where that doesn't exist sounds pretty bizarre, especially if that's been happening inside of you and you've always had somebody else to blame. But we're here to tell you that literally absolutely nothing outside of you needs to change in order for you to reclaim your human life and live out of the active presence of love. Nothing needs to change. All that needs to change is your capacity to generate hostility or fear. The way you change that capacity is through forgiveness. And forgiveness has nothing to do with letting other people off the hook because of what's happening in you. Forgiveness is the tool with which you go inside yourself and you remove your very capacity for any form of hostility or fear. So that's what we're here to support you in. If you're not familiar with that tool and that seems like a very, very strange idea, then we understand that. We've been there, done that. Lived in a world where it just seemed like the natural thing to do was to talk about everybody else and blame them and try to get them to change in order that we didn't have to experience what was going on inside of us. So we invite you to go to our website, which is www.whyagain.com. And on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see on the home page, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. Click on that link. The first 7 links will take you through the whole forgiveness process. So we're glad to be here with you to support you. Jeannie, do we have any callers? Anything happening in the chat room? Dr. Tim with us today.
Tim is with us, and nobody's asking any questions right now. There's several people already on the radio just listening. Tim, welcome.
Thank you. How's the intensive going?
Awesome.
There's really some fun stuff going. We've got, we've got 18 people here, and there's lots of energy moving, lots of energy stirring, and, we've already gotten into the thick of it, like the real life stuff has come up for several people, a conversation that looked like conflict, and it was a pretty gentle, it was a discussion where there were conflicting ideas, and just about everybody went a little berserk. So it was pretty cool because lots of stuff came up and everybody experienced the reality that their mind outputs in front of what they perceive to be conflict. And so we're moving in the direction of deepening the understanding that reality is not what's going on out there. Reality is what's happening between our ears. And fortunately, when we recognize that, the reality that we're experiencing is changeable. So we're well underway for our 4th day.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sending lots of love and prayers and healing thoughts to all those who are taking this courageous step to be in the intensive, and just knowing that the energy of this time of rebirth and spring and the Easter is going to fuel the progress and make it all that more productive.
Yes, I think the conscious use of that Easter energy, the amount of energy moving on the planet towards the idea of resurrection. Of course, there's a fair share about suffering, and so that tends to stir people, and that stirring is absolutely perfect because, of course, if you don't stir it, you can't see it. If you can't see it, you can't change it. And so it's stirring very, very sweetly, very nicely. And the food is awesome. Jeannie is just done a fabulous job of setting up the recipes, and Julie's here helping with the kitchen, and a young lady named Sarah is helping, and it's just everybody's really into the food and the food preparation. For those who maybe aren't familiar with our intensives, when we do a workshop like this, we do total fresh and raw food, all live raw food. And so it creates an awesome detoxification process and is really cool. So we're on track.
Wonderful.
So what's happening in your world?
Well, I had a very nice Easter weekend, Friday night service, and had somebody do a friend of mine who's a musician and a spiritual teacher created the service and read a piece from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and as I listened, I thought, oh, there's Dr. Michael Ryce, there's Guy Finley, there's Way of Mastery in there. It was just beautiful. And then a nice weekend and a wonderful Easter Sunday service, and we've had pleasant weather, nothing real warm, but sunny, and so whole wonderful weekend, and just rocking along doing our work here and trying to help people do the work of forgiveness and learn about it and apply it every day in their lives.
Fabulous. Awesome. It is a good thing. So, Jeannie, do we have anything happening in the chat room? Or?
We do have a caller, area code 607. You're on the air.
Hey, Michael and Jeannie, it's Richard in Ithaca. How's everybody?
Hey there, young man. We are awesome. We're having a blast.
Well, I just wanted to share that obviously I've been doing the worksheets for about a year now, and I'm starting to go through a lot of the healing symptoms right now. This morning I had made an appointment to go talk about, meeting with somebody this morning regarding my retirement. And I was taking a shower, and when I was done with the shower, while I was shaving and stuff, I had this rash, really, that went from my chest down my belly. It was like, oh, wow, here's fear expressing itself.
Cleanse time.
Anyway, yeah, I was like, okay, this is just fear telling me that, my body's reacting to this too, and, so anyway, I just wanted to point out that stuff like that happens whenever we go through this process.
Yeah, for sure. The symptoms of healing, for anybody who's not familiar with the work or is getting familiar and doing worksheets, there are a couple of shows we did. If you look back through the archives in the early shows last, I think January, February, probably in February, that we did on healing crisis. And in the naturopathic system of things, the so-called body is treated as an energy system, and we recognize that anything that goes into the system has to come back out of the system. And when it comes out, it's not Dr. Feelgood, and most people treat those symptoms as disease when they're not disease at all. They're really just the body processing the energies that need to be processed. So one of the reasons why real healing is not very popular is because most people don't want to deal with the symptoms of healing. And so what do those symptoms look like? Well, on a physical level, looks like any kind of physical symptom you've ever had in low energy. On a mental level, looks like any kind of negative thought you've ever had in confusion. On an emotional level, looks like any kind of negative feeling you've ever had in depression. That's what healing looks like. It's not Dr. Feelgood. And so, what Richard's describing here is an increase in elimination. The skin is saying, okay, there's something in here we need to tear out, we need to get rid of. So the best detox pathway we've got right now, the best eliminative organ we have right now to do this is the skin. And so great to have the willingness to go through it and let it happen.
I just wanted to bring that up so that people are aware of this type of stuff that can occur whenever they're doing this process. And again, I want to thank you for being a teacher and a guide through the process and all that stuff.
Delighted to be on the team, Richard, and glad to have you on ours as well. It's fabulous.
Yeah. Looking forward to being with you this summer.
All right. Sounds good.
Have a good day.
Take care. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Is David with us, Jeannie?
Yes, he is.
Oh, good. Hey, David, how are you, sir? You got your mute button on, David? Okay, well, we'll assume that David isn't linked in somehow. So, I see him standing out here in the driveway. He looks like he's got his phone to his ear, but we're not hearing him. David. Hello, David. Are you on the phone? Are you there? Oh, okay. I was just cool. Okay, great. David's not at his phone. There are some other folks listening, and he's just hooking up an external speaker, so the people in the intensive will be able to listen to the show. So it's cool. It's great. So now, if what you've heard so far, if you're new to the show or relatively new, if this is something that this whole conversation doesn't make a lot of sense, which when people are first introduced, it oftentimes doesn't, then call us, ask a question. Let us help you to clarify the ideas that we're talking about and what this whole process looks like and how it unfolds. That's our purpose in doing this show. People who work with and study the tools that we teach form support groups, and they're called Mind Shifters support groups. And this is Mind Shifters Radio. And the idea of Mind Shifters Radio is to support you in this healing process. Awesome action. Of letting loose of what never belonged in our human systems and functioning out of the true presence of being, the true presence of love, your human life. So if you have a question for us, a thought, if you and I were sitting in a room together alone and this conversation had gone down, would it stir some questions for you? And now sometimes people say, well, my question is just a silly question. No, there are no silly questions. Your question is everybody's question. And so we invite you to pick up the phone and call us, 646-200-4169. If you're already on the phone and listening, we invite you to push 1, and that 1 will put you in queue. And Jeannie will put you through so that you can have a conversation with she and I. And we're delighted to be here to support you in this awesome process of healing.
And we do have a caller.
Oh, awesome. Great.
Area code 931, you're on the air.
(931), welcome to the show. Give us a name. Where are you calling from? (931), we can't hear you. If you're there, you need to speak up a little bit.
I think they just dropped, so maybe they'll call right back in.
Oh, dial back in. We're here to chat with you. And if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, we're doing our intensive in Palm Coast, Florida, and the facility that we have is right on the intercoastal waterway. So there's the occasional yacht that goes by, or the occasional skidoo, or somebody on or not skidoo, but jet ski going by. So there's a little bit of noise back there, and I'm out here on the dock and looking down a little bit. I see 4 people on the next dock over who are listening to the show. Awesome. Well, share what's happening. Push 1 and let Jeannie put you through and share what's happening.
We have Nene in the chat room, and she said that she's going through the next layer, and that yesterday she had a big realization. She had a new level of vitality, and today she spoke to her daughter and started crying, and all the feelings of being helpless came out. So she's going through another dizzy, fear, failure, hopeless, helpless.
Well, and Nene, I acknowledge you for your commitment and the work you've done over the period of the last 15 or so months, and how you've impacted many, many people, and the fact that you've taken it to the next level of doing the work with people in your native Spanish language would mean that by doing that, by raising yourself to that level of intensity, the next layer that you need to move through is going to come right to the surface. So it sounds like you're right on it, and it's perfect, and we join you and support you. And I see Linda over there with the phone to her ear. I think she may be pushed to 1, and if she did, do you want to put her through, Jeannie?
There's a 413 that just came on, and there's another one waiting. So 413, you're first. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Michael. It's Linda over on the dock.
Hi, Linda over on the dock, on the other dock.
I was going to call in because I know how you like to tease people and tell you that I was sticking my toe in the water, but you're outside here too, so that really wouldn't fly too well. So I wanted to tell you that I'm so happy to be here, and there's just a really wonderful, loving group of people here. And I can't say that I feel comfortable here all the time, but the feelings that come up, but I do feel comfortable and safe with everybody here. It's such a nurturing group and beautiful energy, and definitely getting in touch with some things that having the support around while I was going through it last night was really powerful and allowed me to stay with it when I normally would have tried to do something else to hide from it. So I just appreciate you, Michael and Jeannie, for providing the space, and for Julie being here, and David, and all the support, and how hard everybody works, all of you, to make this happen.
Well, I acknowledge your courage for last night being willing to be the sample worksheet that walked through the forgiveness process in front of the whole group, and picking, some pretty sensitive, intense material to go for, and your willingness to do that is just fabulous. And I'm going to presume that probably this morning already you've done a couple more worksheets in that arena. Would that be an accurate assumption?
That'd be very accurate. I don't even know how many there are. It's been, I've done quite a few worksheets, and I have more to do.
And what's the upshot? What's the upshot? Where are you at with it at this point?
Well, I think what really hit me, what's coming through, is in relation to last night in the worksheets, is something that you said, I think on the, here comes the, okay, I'll try to ignore the noise. Maybe I'll wait a second. There was, you quoted Yeshua saying, love the Lord your God. Love your neighbor as yourself, and love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And you explained how we can't love people, and people can't love us, but we can be love, and that what he was trying to tell us is to be ourselves by being loved. And that just really hit me, that it's not about loving others, or even that we want others to love us, but that by keeping that filter, that Rachma, and asking for help to be restored to the condition of love, is about staying as who we are. And that just really starting to sink in. And also faith. You mentioned something about having faith and where we put our faith. And I have put my faith in fear as being something I think can help me and make my life safe. Well, and so I'm finding that I can start to see the light that I can rely on the love that I am, and just try to sit back or float back and do my work and just trust in that love that is everywhere present, that I trust is everywhere present. I'm working on that. And Julie gave me a sweet little rock that says faith on it, a nice smooth little stone, which was perfect. So I have that.
That's interesting. That's the name of her house at Heartland.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's
as
like
well.
You said, where do you put your faith? Where is your faith? You put it in the fear, anger, material, or
And of course, when we're brought up in a world where we're taught or forced to give up the presence of being, the presence of love, there aren't many other options. And so, the simple shift, not always an easy shift, but the simple shift is to restoring yourself, going back and reconnecting to your human beingness. And human beingness creates this awesome world through an awesome, powerful mind. There's a wonderful Old Testament quote that says, "You were not given a spirit of fear. You were given a mind of power and of strength." And the world and its controllers don't want you to be in a mind of power and strength. So they teach you to give it up as early and as quickly as possible. And so the whole work of Yeshua and the whole work that we're about doing, following his lead and his tools, is about being restored to that mind we were given originally. you look at how many people are out there trying to pound you into this sinner role, this weak, this helpless, hopeless, there's nothing you can do, and they totally ignore that you were given a mind of power and of strength, a sound mind, and it's based in the love of God, and not a mysterious, religious God, but rather the simple fact that human life is made of this stuff called love. It's made of God stuff. Hold a newborn, it's unmistakable. That's what's there. And that's what the world attempts to force out of us with its sinner labels and its fear labels and its terrorizing, et cetera, to tear people out of that sound mind they were given and make them controllable. They become obedient. They become great slaves. And so we're here to free the slaves. No, I mean quite literally.
I have a question, because last night we talked about how you said that until we release all of this and this has healed these energies, that we don't have a choice about what thoughts come up and what feelings come up. And Jesus said, or Yeshua said a few times, fear not, fear not, fear not.
Yeah.
So what is your,
Several.
how would you, it's like, okay, I'm not going to be afraid. He must have meant, how do you interpret his?
Well, he's talking to an audience that's filled with terror and fear. And, that's what the Romans, pounded people into. That's what the Egyptians pounded people into when there was captivity and going all the way back, slavery. And even the temple leaders, the religious leaders, much as many religious leaders today, are about pounding people into fear. And so Yeshua is addressing thousands of people who live in fear and terror. And he's given them the tool of forgiveness. He's shown that we need to go inside ourselves and remove what never belonged. And in so doing, you get to the point where you don't have to play the fear game anymore. It was the prevalent, much like today, it was the prevalent game of the day. And you look at how many people function, parents, religious leaders, business leaders function through intimidation and fear. And so he's saying, let's put an end to that game, folks. Just like we're saying at the beginning of the workshop, of the radio show, let's put an end to war on planet Earth. Let's create a space where there is the active presence of human life, and we function out of love. And I think he was saying a similar thing in that context was, you've been taught to fear, and now it's time to be done with it. It's time to get off of that old reality structure and to step into your true human life. We're going to get a little bit of noise here in a second. We're on the intercoastal waterway, and we've got a jet ski and a boat that are going by. So just listen in, have a little bit of their fun, have a taste. There it is. So, is any other thoughts?
I don't think so. I'm still obviously in process, and I'm sure in a couple of days more things will come to light as I get deeper into this process and we listen to more of the workshops. But I just want to acknowledge my husband for coming with me, because it's wonderful to have his support here, and I love him and appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so obvious that he's like a rock and just right there to hold the space for you. It's so powerful. And the willingness to do his own work, too. It's pretty cool.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, is anybody else on the dock with you there? I think I see 3 or 4 other heads from here. Anybody else have anything to share about what you're experiencing so far, or questions about your worksheets this morning? Linda's surveying. I can see over to the other dock. Linda's surveying the folks on the dock to see if anybody else. Oh, somebody else is reaching for the phone. Here we are.
If Jenna's over there, she had a question this morning too.
Okay. So who do we have? I know somebody else has got the phone because I can see, but I can't tell who it is. Talk to us.
Karen. Hi there.
Hi.
Okay.
Hey, Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
So what's happening for you so far?
Well, I'm getting clarity on some issues that I wanted clarity on. And,
Can't hear you, Karen.
Can't hear on this phone.
There you go. I can hear. I heard that.
Okay,
Maybe
I
just
stepped
need to
out.
keep it closer.
So I said I'm getting clarity on some issues and some freedom that I came to get.
Awesome. Any questions at this point?
Actually, I don't have a question. I understand the process, and I've done several papers already today. And my intention is to clear out emotionally.
Cool. Well, we're going to crank up the next level today. We're going to move into the healing through relationship segment and get another level of clarity of just what the healing process is going to look like. So it's going to move to a new level today.
Well, when does the still point breathing enter?
Oh, it's kind of a live, organic thing. We don't have it set up by the clock. It'll be as things unfold.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm going to pass the phone on.
All right. Okay, so Jeannie, do you have any other callers or anything happening in the chat room?
We do have some more callers. Someone in the chat room wanted to know where to get the worksheets, so I put the link out there. Sarah had also put the link out, whyagain.com/worksheets.php. And all of the worksheets are out there for free. And the first link was new chapter 24, then there's 7-step worksheets. And there are MP3s explaining where Michael walked different people through doing the worksheet. And it's all there and very explanatory. And then if you have questions, please call in. We'd love to assist you with them. And we do have another caller. It's area code 517. You're on the air.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Jeannie. It's Mitzi.
Hey, Mitzi. Welcome. How are you doing?
Perfect, I'm sure.
Awesome.
This is the way I'm supposed to be. I have some questions regarding codependence. And
yes.
I'm in a relationship that I'm striving to clear and become interdependent, and have done the worksheets, and I get to the part where the advice I should be following is the advice I'm giving them, and I'm wondering if that is literal, because it doesn't seem to fit at all. It doesn't seem to fit. Like, okay, what my advice to this person isn't something that would fit for me, or it's something I'm already doing and have been doing. And so I'm wondering if there's just something more to that I'm not getting.
Well, maybe you're ready to take it to a new level. Do you want to be more explicit with what's going on and what the advice is, and let's see if we can support you with it.
Okay, well, the advice is for a person who seemed to be benefiting from a particular regimen of taking supplements and eating and doing things that were helping, and then decided not to do those things because for whatever reason doesn't like being told what to do or whatever, and now seems to be from my opinion, seems to be being affected in a way that isn't helpful and would probably, most of the world would say, needs to be medicated. And I am taking supplements and I am doing my work. The things that I think he should do, I'm doing for myself. The things that, if he were to heal his own process inside and, do the forgiveness process, and I have been doing that, and he should, I think, do things that are more copacetic to holistic lifestyle and the things that I am doing. So I don't know how I could apply it anymore to myself.
Well, if you're already applying that advice, then you're right on track. Most people, the advice is so based in projection, they're so out of touch. Now, of course, you've been doing your work for a long time, so you're pretty in touch with what you need to do and what your advice is to yourself. Most people are out of touch with that advice. Their advice is usually projection. But it sounds like, with the amount of work that you've done, you've been doing worksheets every day for how long now? 5 worksheets a day for?
The first of the year.
so for several months, and you're applying that advice. So I think that's appropriate. And it might be time to move in the direction of allowing accountability, because you can't force somebody else to take care of themselves or take care of their lives. And it might be useful to look up a Codependence Anonymous group and just kind of check out what the whole process is in those support groups as to someone who's simply not taking care of themselves, because you may be in, it sounds like you might be in the place where you're enabling, and you can't force somebody to move where somebody doesn't want to go. You can only really do that with willingness. And I suspect I know the situation that you're talking about, and I certainly hold the space for it, but and identify with the frustration that you experience in, encouraging that movement forward. Good breath.
Yeah.
So what's coming up? What's happening?
Grief, more grief, because I know that I can't do it, for someone else, and so I'm not sure what the next step is, but.
So my input for the next step would be, this is your time to do your work on grief and loss. It sounds like that's the next layer up for you, that you need to come back and focus on being responsible for your own process and doing your own work. And sadly, in cases where somebody isn't willing to take responsibility and do their work, sometimes you just need to let them do what they're going to do. And certainly that can involve a great deal of loss. And I hear you loud and clear. One of the things that I've found in that circumstance is to, in cutting the strings and cutting the attachments to the result, is to let him know that you can see that he has his own wisdom, and that his own wisdom will take him where he needs to go. And sadly, where he might need to go is to a lot more pain and trauma before he chooses to wake up and go, maybe I could do this differently.
So as long as, but that still feels codependent, I'm still trying to get clear of being codependent, and maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if the advice doesn't apply, then what is the next step? You're saying maybe find a group of people that can help guide me along.
Yeah, there are 12-step groups who, again, I think I know the situation you're working with, and there are 12-step groups that work in the area of codependence that have worked out a system for dealing with a situation like the one you're dealing with. And there are a lot of, people there who've been through those codependent processes where you just have to let somebody, sadly, what needs to happen is somebody needs to hit bottom. And it's unfortunate, and especially when it's somebody close to you, it's difficult to let go and let them hit bottom. But in taking care of yourself, in order to empower yourself and to be that space, sometimes that's what's required.
Okay.
So what are you feeling? What's happening?
I've done a lot of worksheets on this topic, and I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned and the opportunity to grow. I just don't feel ready to do what you're telling me that I need to do, that I know I need to do.
Yeah. And it sounds like your next work is going to be processing through this grief and loss, because allowing him to take his course is going to be probably significant grief and loss.
Great.
Tough to do.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there comes a point where you need to let somebody live their lives and just hold the space for them to do what they need to. Again, just giving the message of, I realize you have your own wisdom, and I'll just support you and trust you that your wisdom's going to take you where you need to go. And sometimes, unfortunately, where someone needs to go is to the bottom.
I thought we already were there.
Say again?
I thought we already were there. Seems like it.
Yeah, it's tough to watch and tough to be part of.
Yes, it is.
I wish there were a magic wand to wave.
Pardon me?
I say I wish there were a magic wand to wave, and unfortunately there's not. And what we will do, though, is to hold the space. And, sometimes the emotional attachments. Have you ever done the exercise with me of cutting the emotional attachments?
I've done a variation of it in my own heart and my own process, but I don't know that I've done anything formally that you're referring to.
Okay. Well, if you'd like, we can do that. And anybody here that has a situation that it keeps pulling on your heartstrings and keeps you in that cycle of negative emotion, this can be a very powerful process. It's very simple, but a very powerful process for letting go of those attachments. So anybody that's ready to do that might want to just follow instructions and do the process.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. So the first step is I'm going to just ask you to close your eyes and go inside. And imagine that I have two sharpened pencils. We're going to use these two pencils to send you to a location in your brain. So if you imagine that I've got these two sharpened pencils, I'm going to take one and I'm going to insert it right through the center of your forehead. And the other one we're going to insert right down through the center of your crown chakra, right through the center of the head. And the place where the two pencil tips would meet is the seat of the unconscious. It's the place where you can let go of the emotional attachments. It doesn't mean ending the relationship or anything like that, just that it's a place to cut the strings that keep these emotional reverberations going and going and going, and the hostility, the fear, the games that sometimes get played out. And so when you're centered in that place where those two pencil tips meet, just let me know. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you to allow an image of the person that you're cutting the attachments to come to awareness. And once you're centered there, you want your awareness to be at that point where the two pencil tips meet, and you have an image of that person. And if you want to keep it private, you can certainly put your phone on mute. And when you're there, let me know.
I don't know how to put my phone on.
Okay.
But I will trust the process anyway, not unmute.
Okay. So once you've got a picture of them and you're centered to that place where the pencil tips meet, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. And then out loud, you're going to speak to Rukha, that elemental force in you that can undo the effects of yours and teach you the truth. So Rukha, I release all attachment to, and then just speak the name of the person that you're working with.
Rukha, I release all attachment to my son.
You feel anything happening in your hands or your head?
I'm sweating.
Okay.
Yes,
So that sweating.
My head
Say
feels
again?
off. Yeah, I feel a little tingling in my head too.
Okay, the tingling, that's what we're looking for. That's the signal that sweating is a release, and that's the energy moving, and then the tingling tends to be the space that's being opened up in you. And that's all there is to it. And I've seen some very, very dramatic results in relationships when one does that process. And so anybody who has anybody in your life, and if you do it, and maybe you've got a half a dozen people you need to do it with, you don't want to do them all today. You can just start, and it's something you can easily do on your own. But give yourself about a week to kind of reintegrate, and then if there's someone else to work with, then go ahead and do it again. You'll tend to find that there won't be as many emotional strings and as much resonance in the realm of the negativity as you do that.
I think that would be helpful.
I hear you loud and clear. And I hold
right.
the space for you, and I hold the space for your son and for Rex. I know it's been a difficult process.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Any other way we can support you?
No.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Right there?
I'll keep working with this one.
Okay. We hold the space for you. We love you.
Thank you.
We appreciate sharing the planet with you and the integrity that you bring to the world.
Thanks.
All right. Blessings. Bye-bye. This is Resurrection Time.
Love you, Mitzi. And we do have another 517 number on. You're on the air.
Cool.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hey, thank you very much. That was very powerful.
Glad to
it's
be
Rex,
on the team.
actually.
I got
it's
you.
Rex, in case you didn't know. I also wanted to mention we have our support group tomorrow night. And so anyone in the Lansing area that is interested in being supported lovingly and to view the first hour of the DVD, you're welcome. It's from 7 to 9:30 at our home. And you can check my website to find out information on that. And I'm also doing a workshop this Saturday titled, and everybody should be familiar with it, Healing Through Relationships.
Awesome.
So we're excited about that.
So if people go to stillpointbreathoflife or to whyagain.com, they'll find a link to the information. Your support group's on Lucy Street tonight at 7 o'clock. And then where's the Healing Through Relationships workshop going to be?
Well, it's Tuesday, tomorrow night. I think today's Monday. I hope today's Monday.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. So it's tomorrow night, and then the Healing Through Relationship will be in East Lansing at the Full Spectrum Family Medical Center.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, we appreciate the work you're doing in Lansing and the people you're touching.
Well, it's
cool
been intense, and I want to also acknowledge the really felt the start of the intensive very, very tangibly. And I just wanted to, extend gratitude and also, supporting all of us because it is part of the reason you call them an intensive. Because so far it's been pretty intense.
I hear you. I'm clear.
So thank you. Now there's still some time left, and you had other callers, so I just wanted to extend my blessings and love to everybody and give out that information. And, cool technique. I'd never heard that one before, Michael, so thank you for another tool.
All right. Well, happy post-resurrection week.
Absolutely, and to everyone.
All right. Take care. Blessings.
I'll sign off.
Well, we have, yes. We
Go
have
for it.
Renee and Sarah both in the chat room, and they both said that they did the exercise along with Mitzi. And Sarah did it on her brother, and I just asked Renee if she did it on her daughter, since that was what was up for her this morning. And both of them said that it was a really good exercise, and they felt more vibrant, and that they thought it was a really good exercise.
Yeah, definitely. It tends to create closer relationships because it releases the emotional. It's kind of like the tuning fork. One bounces off, another bounces off another, and it just escalates. And so this tends to cut the strings of the negative escalation and empowers movement toward the constructive side of the game. So, very cool. Well, any other callers? Anything happening in the chat room?
No, we're down to about 8 minutes.
By?
The phone number is...
Say it again, please.
The phone number is 646-200-4169. We do have another caller, area code 810. You're on the air.
Hey, Michael, Jeannie, it's Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Welcome, sir. How do you be?
Thanks. I'm doing good, and I'm actually doing a lot better after doing that exercise. So I want to send my gratitude to you and to Mitzi, and her courage to share, because it's really helpful with my situation. At the thought of my former leaving and my 2 children, it was really powerful. So thank you.
Good. Delighted. And how is your process going around that separation in relationship?
It's a daily thing, and I'm gonna start doing worksheets on grief and loss, because I see where that's gonna be really powerful for me, and just a process. I mean, I do feel sad often, and have some anger coming up, and just frustration, and and what we talked about the other day, which was like, what could I have done differently? I'm a failure. I'm not good enough, and I'm hopeless and helpless, and I've been working on that directly, the hopeless, helpless, failure stuff. So, and it's been good. It's been helpful.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I once again acknowledge you for the gathering of support that you've created around you with your family and such to be working through those issues, and we hold the space for the highest and best outcome with your children and with your former.
Great. Thank you guys. So.
All right. Have a blessed one.
You as well. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Dini, do we have any other callers? Anything happening in the chat room?
And that's all of the callers for now. And let's see. Renee said she had been on the phone, but she needed to go. Hugs to all the callers and participants, and that she'll call in tomorrow.
Very cool. We'll look forward to hearing from you, Nene, and we hold the space for whatever's happening in your world, and we're here to support you, for sure. And we'll be down there in Fort Lauderdale in a few weeks, and we'll get to see your shining face. So we're sitting here on the Intercoastal Waterway in Palm Coast, Florida. We have this beautiful facility with a dock, 2 docks actually, and we're sitting out in the sunshine. It's absolutely beautiful. We're surrounded with these huge old live oak trees with Spanish moss coming off of them, some just really gorgeous trees, and a little forest walk to go down to the ocean. It's about a little less than a mile, so the house is actually right on the Intercoastal with the dock, and then you can walk through the woods. There's a pathway through the woods to the ocean. So it's pretty sweet space to be doing an intensive, and this is our first time in this facility, and if it all works out the way it looks like it is, then we'll hopefully be doing some workshops here next year. We're looking at maybe doing something in December, January, February, so if anybody's interested in making plans that far ahead, let us know, and maybe will help us to solidify the dates. If you've got specific dates to work for you, we don't have a set of dates in mind as yet, but the facility is just absolutely beautiful.
Michael, did you mean this
Yes,
year or next year? Because we were going west.
Say it again?
I said, did you mean this year? Because we were going west.
Oh, no, actually, I meant 2012. Excuse me, you're right. Yeah, we're heading west. 2013 part. Oh, 2014. This is 12. 13's next. We'll be out west, and we'll probably create an intensive or 2 out west this year as well. We haven't solidified anything yet, but we're looking at doing something, maybe back up in Washington State. We did an intensive there a couple of years ago at this beautiful ranch right under the shadow of Mount Hood. It was absolutely fabulous. So we may do another one there this year, and or we may for another facility more in the southwest. That one's kind of up in the northwest. So if anybody has any ideas in that direction, let us know. Go ahead, Tweety.
Yeah, there's some people in the chat room that said they lost audio for a while, and would you go through in the last few minutes here and redo the exercise, because they lost how to do that.
Oh,
they lost audio and didn't hear how to do the pencils and the picture, so they said, would you go through it again?
Okay, so anybody that wants to do that, if you want to just get centered and close your eyes and go inside, this is an exercise for cutting the emotional attachments, not cutting the relationship, but cutting the emotional attachments that tend to keep people cycling in negative cycles. So the exercise is one of, first of all, centering in a particular place in your brain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 pencils. Excuse the noise in the background. We've got a boat going by in our coastal here. The magic and the miraculousness of modern radio. Here we are, sitting on a cell phone beside the intercoastal, listening to the intercoastal traffic as we're talking to people all over the globe. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. We certainly appreciate the technology, and we appreciate Carol Guy for getting us set up with it to have the space to create this Mind Shifters radio that we do every day. And we are here to support you 5 days a week from 1 till 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So the exercise is one of cutting the emotional attachments, and you start out, you want to focus in what we're going to call the seat of the unconscious. And the way we're going to invite you to do that is close your eyes, go inside and breathe. Make sure you maintain connectedness with your breath. And imagine that I have 2 sharpened pencils, and I'm going to place one pencil. I'm actually going to insert it right through the center of your forehead, right up where people would call the area of the third eye. So I'm going to insert a pencil there, and then I'm going to insert a pencil right down through the center of your crown. So right through the center of the top of the head, I insert a second pencil. And we want you to take your awareness to the point where those 2 pencil tips meet. And then once your awareness is there, whoever it is that you're cutting the emotional attachments with, the emotional strings, you want to call forward a picture of them, an image, a sense if you don't visualize. And so just take a moment to be centered there and have a picture of them. And as you get that picture in mind, then you want to speak to that super processor that we've talked about that Yeshua taught 2,000 years ago called Rukha. You're going to address that power and ask it for support. And so the words that go with it are, Rukha, I release all attachment to Charlie, Bill, whoever it is that I'm working with. So just allow yourself to release those attachments. And as you release the attachments, you're free on another level. You may find another piece of work coming up. That might be your next worksheet. And as you clear out those attachments, you'll find yourself more empowered to do the goal of this work, and that is to create the best year yet of your eternal life. We appreciate you. We hold you in a blessing. Hold an awesome post-resurrection week for you, that you live in that active presence of love that you are, 24/7, 365. Bring a stranger to the show with you tomorrow, and we'll look forward to talking to you then. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife Jeannie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeannie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.